movies. I haven't seen a Tom Hanks movie in a long time. Of course, I did like all his movies too, or most of them. And I do remember seeing some when he was really young. His first movies that he put out. I will watch them over and over again. Westerns, the old Western movies. Some of those, even in serials like Bonanza and Paladin and Rawhide, and then just the plain old movies, black and white movies. I'm sure I saw when I was a kid or a youngster running down to the local movie theater for a quarter, going in for 15 cents for a ticket, got a box of popcorn and a soda for a dime, or a quarter for a movie when I was older, or as I got into my teen years when I was going by myself, it was 50 cents, a quarter for a ticket, 15 cents for a box of popcorn, 10 cents for a Coke. And that was my day. Of course, that was also the days where they had serial movies, where you'd see 2 or 3 serials, like you'd see a Superman serial or a Green Hornet serial, or one of the other ones, and then you'd see News of the World with the great big camera that would show in, and you'd see all the latest news. And then you'd see the movies, and a lot of times it was double features. There was times where I'd go to a movie at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and never walk out of that theater till 4 or 5 o'clock. And of course, back in those days, it wasn't driving, everything was walking. You walked from your house downtown to go to the movie theater. And my hometown, Amsterdam, New York, by the way, had 3 movie theaters when I was growing up. Actually, it had 4, but one closed when I was young. I still remember. You had the Mohawk, you had the Tryon, you had the Regency, and you had the, a Senior Moment. I'll have to get back to it. But the Regency was the first one that closed. But the Tryon movie was the most modern of the time. The Mohawk was the closest to where I lived, and a lot of times that's where I went, and that's where I saw most of my movies. By the way, if you like the ramblings of a senior citizen, give me a thumbs up. Maybe make a comment down below, and I can see what topics might interest you, what you might get out of an expectancy, if you're younger, of what you might be running into as you get older. So back on to my Sundays and my fixation with watching. You know, and I'll tell you the best thing that ever happened, and it's a modern one that keeps me connected. Every Friday night, and I have done this for a number of years, not months, but years, I FaceTime with my son in Florida. You know, if they had this when he was in the service or when I was in the service, this video chatting would have been great, but it didn't exist back then. We had snail mail. Remember when you put a stamp on an envelope and send it away? And you put the SNMRL, Sailor's Mail, Rush Like Hell, and you wait till you got to port where the mail would be delivered, or on the aircraft carrier, the cog would come in and deliver the mail. And you'd get 20 or 30 letters, hopefully, to keep you going. And you learned how to, rather than sitting down and read them all at once, to read them every day or so to pass the time. But the day of video chatting and FaceTiming, my son and I FaceTime every Friday. He lives in Florida, I live in Texas, so it's usually 5 o'clock his time, 4 o'clock my time. And we do video chat for approximately 4 hours. And you say, why are we doing that? Well, you know the old saying, if you drink alone, you're an alcoholic? We FaceTime because he'll sit around his fire pit and have a few beers, and I'll sit in my recliner FaceTiming and have a few adult beverages. My adult beverages, by the way, J&B Scotch. That way, you know, we're not drinking alone. Video chatting keeps you going. plus one for FaceTime. Of course, FaceTime isn't the only way of doing it, but it's the one that I use constantly. So that takes care of Friday night. And maybe that's the reason I don't go out Saturday and Sunday. It used to be I could have 3 or 4 drinks or 5 or 6 drinks, get up the next morning, feel great. Now it takes me a little bit longer to get back to normal. And gone are the days where I want to put my foot on the floor to make sure the room doesn't spin. I don't do that anymore. I guess a liter of scotch lasts me quite a bit longer than it used to. So back into Saturday and Sunday, I just relax. I have no desires to go out and go around. I don't drive anymore, but I can get YouTube. My budget allows me for the YouTube just about any place I want. But I have found that if I go to most of the restaurants or stuff, it ends up that I'm not going there just for food. For some reason, I'm back in ordering a scotch. And can you believe you go to a bar now and you get a scotch and water and it costs $5. If you get a name brand, it's going to cost $10 for lousy scotch and water. Can't afford that. So that reverts me back to my occasional beer, which is Miller Lite. I get the light beers. I'm no longer the heavy-duty drinking with the beer. Miller Lite, Coors Light, any one of the light beers I will go for. But beer doesn't, it bloats me, and it fills me up so fast. After a couple of beers, 2 or 3 beers, I'm done. I'm calling my YouTuber to take me back home. So you've got to have a hobby. And people say, well, what do you do to keep you going at 81 years old? Me, it is the computer. I spend a lot of time on the computer. I don't subscribe to newspapers anymore. I get most of my news. I used to do it on television, but now news on a television, they don't report the news anymore. It seems like they create it, or they're all in a ratings war, so they're not really giving you all the fresh information that you want. So I don't do it anymore. I get most of my news because I circulate online through all the different news things. I get different slants. I could read from Fox or CNN or ABC or NBC. I can get different slants of news, and of course they're also putting out stuff, and they have a lot of leanings in different directions. That's why you can get your choice real quick. You can get the same article from CNN and turn over and get it from Fox. And I enjoy that. And I play games like poker and bridge and solitaire. Those are games that keep my brain active as a senior. I love bridge, and I love the different varieties of solitaire that you can play that make me keep thinking. And poker, I don't play for money. I play for chips on the freebie pokers. World Poker Tour, they have the freebie section out there. And to me, it's seeing how many chips I can work. You know, you get about 2,000 chips every couple hours, but I'm trying to see how much I can win and stuff. I have over 4 million chips on that. And I play 2 or 3 times a week. It's fun. It passes the time for me. I really enjoy doing that. So, I've rambled on enough for today, but I just thought I would pass this on to you and show you what basically a senior citizen at 81 does. And before I sign off, I want to tell you one other thing. I always have, probably after 20 years in the military and doing an awful lot of traveling, I always have that thing. I want to travel. I want to go someplace. I get an itch to get on the road again. To me, my ideal place would be a trip to the Philippines. And that's going to be my next video. I'm going to talk about my desires and my introduction to the Philippines from my Navy days and from discovering YouTube and vloggers from the Philippines. That's going to be my next subject, and if you'd be interested and you want to hear about it and be interested in my slant on it, please give me a thumb up, subscribe, and leave me some comments on the thing. Thank you for your time. Have a great weekend, and see you for the next one. Bye.